I was stuck at 20% body fat for almost 2.5 years. And meaning it took me quite a long time for me to get this lean, as you can see here. And it took me that long and a long time. So I'm going to tell you guys why I was pretty much stuck at 20% body fat in this video, so that you guys don't do the same mistakes that I did when I did my, so you guys don't do that same mistakes that I did, and so that you don't spend too long being out of shape. So this wasn't really my tactical issue. It was simply my belief system and the daily habits that kept me out of shape. And I'm here to tell you that I didn't really have a tactical issue. It was more of my mindset, belief system, and my habits that kept me at 20% body fat. So I'm just going to walk you through the mistakes that I did, so that you don't do the same thing. Now, I don't really have a tactical issue, because I was still, eating clean. I was eating clean, tracking my calories, tracking my lifts, weighing myself. Well, I didn't really weigh myself daily, which is something I'll get into afterwards. But I was still weighing myself. And yes, I was doing all of these tactical things. But the issue is I was very inconsistent, couldn't stick to my plan, couldn't stick to one thing. I still addicted to the habits that kept me fat, I still was an emotional eater. I was still an emotional eater. I was viewing the world as a pessimistic way. I wasn't doing those daily things that an athlete does. And so I'm gonna break to you in this video what I did in order to change. And this is why it is important for you to stick to be very consistent and stick to your plan. Because if you're very inconsistent, then you will struggle to see results. And this includes, sticking to your split for pretty much during the cut, and stop hopping from one exercise to another exercise, stop hopping from one program to another, and be in a consistent calorie deficit. Don't be, binging on the weekends, overeating just because you're stressed. And don't be, scrolling right before bed, having no routine, having no purpose, whatever it may be, whatever your daily bad habits are. So what I've learned is that in order to, getting lean isn't just about having the tactical skills. Of course you need tactics, don't get me wrong, but you also need to remove the old version of yourself and create that new 2.0 version of yourself. So you must be removing the old version of yourself. So you must be removing those daily habits that kept you fat. And, this includes all of the things that I've just mentioned, scrolling through midnight, scrolling till your bedtime, overeating just because you're stressed. Like I said, you must be removing those things, and you must be creating that new version of yourself. You need to create a new version of what an athlete does. Athletes don't, I'm telling you, that old version of you, athletes don't do that. They do something better. They don't do those daily bad habits. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying athletes eat clean 24/7, but when they got lean, I'm telling you, they barely ate junk. They didn't even eat no junk at all. They were eating whole foods 100% of this entire fat loss process. But then once they got lean, obviously, then they will treat themselves here and there. They might be overeating as well, but it's just one day, once in a while. But whereas in that old version of yourself, you're overeating every 2 weeks or even every month. But the athlete version is the one that eats clean 24/7, barely treats himself, and has a strong mindset as well. Because the key, I'm telling you, the difference between someone that's 20% body fat and someone that's 12% is not the fact that they did the transformation, it's their mindsets. You can clearly see it's their mindsets. One believed that they can get to 12% body fat, whereas the one at 20% body fat had no belief. You know, they viewed the world as a pessimistic way. So you must believe that you can get into shape, because if you don't believe you're going to get into shape, then you're going to struggle to get into shape. So, and you need to have that mindset where, you know, if it's done by one person, it can surely be done by me. It's less about the physique and it's more about the man you need to become. Because the man you need to become is the one that is a 2.0 version of himself. Focus on removing those daily bad habits that keep you fat, and make sure you're creating and ensure you're creating that new 2.0 version of yourself. Because I promise you, you will get into shape if you create that new 2.0 version of yourself. But that's it from me. If you want more information on how to get lean, then click down in the description and you'll see my lean cut guide once you click on that link. So if you want to get more information on this, then make sure you access my lean cut guide. But thanks for watching as always. I'll see you lot in the next video.